Hi, this is Bree.
Hey, Bri, you're on the Dysfunctional Podcast. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. We're so happy to have you. We actually started the show an hour early just so we could talk to you.
Oh, well, thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
You're on with Chris, who's a big fan. He just drove all the way from about 60, 70 miles away because I told him you're on the show.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well, hello.
So I don't think you do what he's a fan of anymore.
Well, you still look beautiful though, so you look great.
And then we got Big A, who's Andrew. Where are you, Andrew?
Hi, Bree.
Yeah, he's a
Hey,
bit of
Andrew.
he's a bit of a delayed talker. It's not the computer doing that. It's actually him.
Okay.
So what are you up to?
I am putting together my piano stand.
Oh,
I
okay.
just moved back from Los Angeles, and so I'm just putting things back together right now. So I'm just been assembling this. I accidentally took it too far apart, so
Oh, that's nice.
reassemble time.
So you're back to Indiana for good now?
Not for good. I'm just here in the media. I'm just chilling for right now.
That's cool. Get away from the big LA, right? Because over there, it's just like a nightmare to try and do something, and it's twice as expensive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it really is. I mean, I've always had my home here and LA, and you know, just expense-wise, and I just plan on writing for the next few months, so it was just silly to just be throwing that amount of money away on LA expenses.
Yeah, Andrew at Big A had actually just told me that you're talking about writing a book, right?
Mhm.
Is that going to be the Charlie Sheen Expo, or is that just going to be your whole...
Oh, God, please. He's the most boring, lame part of my whole life. I have nothing to say.
Yeah, I don't really want to go into that right away because I promised you this wouldn't just be a 4-hour Charlie Sheen grilling. So, we just wanted to talk about how you got into the business and all that stuff. I was reading quite a bit about you, as I was getting ready for the interview, and you actually went to Indiana University at Purdue, right?
I went for a year, and then I dropped out because I had started porn, and I was like, wow, this is great money. I'll just do this for now and go back.
And then you never did, I guess, right?
Well, because there's morality clauses in any business, hospitals, nursing homes, what have you. So once you have been a sex worker in any capacity, even nude modeling, they are, by their morality clause, they do not have to hire you, and they can fire you at any time. So it's just not, I'm not going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for my degree just to go get fired and embarrassed and shamed by the whole medical community. It's not worth it.
I guess that's the expense of being on the front page of Playboy, right? If you weren't successful, no one would know, but you were, one of the top people when you were doing it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. The more successful you are, the more it's gonna bite you in the ass later.
Right.
But I mean, all women deal with it though. It's amazing because there's so much out there, and there's guys. I mean, people in their memories. They're like, where do I know her from?
Right.
And then like let's say a woman becomes a nurse, and then the guy will go home that day. He's also a nurse, and he'll be like. And he'll be scratching his head for like a week, and then all of a sudden he'll be like, it'll click, and he pulls it up, and then he shows his coworker, and 2 weeks later she's fired from her job. It happens all the time.
Wow, yeah. It's kind of. I remember reading Tracy Lord's book. She was saying that her stepfather found a magazine of hers, and the next thing you know, he was her agent. So it's kind of bizarre. So
is that why you put that? I saw I guess it was in November. You had like a tweet that you put out. Whereas, basically saying for young girls that are looking to get into business, not to get into the business, not because of porn itself, but because of, now where you're kind of blackballed. If you wanted to go into just say you wanted to be a nurse, you couldn't be a nurse. And
Absolutely. It's a thing that a lot of young women don't think about. When I was 18, 19 years old, I was like, I'm just young and having fun. I'm just exploring my sexuality, making tons of money. This is great. And I just thought, oh, for sure, I can go back to school. And, I was very naive to the way the world works and how people hold on to things and, hold prejudice and everything. I wasn't made aware of that. So I just wanted to let girls know, hey, this is, if you do this, I I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's something you will have to answer to for the rest of your life if you do.
Right. Now you got into it just under your 20th birthday, right? But you were I think I read that you would have got into it earlier if you weren't in a relationship at that point.
Right. Yeah, I had a girlfriend all through high school, from my freshman year of high school to my freshman year of college. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And did you ever tell her that you wanted to do it?
Yeah, she was like, no, I mean, like that. But the moment that was over, I was also just frustrated because she was so jealous of heterosexual porn. Even though, I mean, I was obviously in love with her. I stayed with her all through my high school years. Those are very fun years to stay with someone through that entire time.
Right.
I loved her very much, but her jealousy, it would not allow for me to just explore myself, like just even in masturbation and watching heterosexual movies, because as much, like right now, I have a girlfriend now, as much as I love being with a woman, I still love heterosexual porn. I think a lot of people do. There's some gay men that do, there's some other gay women that do, and what have you. But, yeah, she wouldn't let me. And so as soon as we broke up, I was on a rampage. I was like a 14-year-old boy that just found the internet. I was like going crazy for hours and hours just watching hetero porn and like getting off. And I remember thinking one day, I'm like, how fun would it be to be in one of those? Right. And so I literally Googled porn applications because I'm like, is there an application for this? Because, I mean, I wasn't a stripper. I wasn't anything like that. I was a pre-med student at Purdue, and, I had a part-time or a full-time telemarketing job. And so, I had no idea about it. And I looked it up. Sure enough, there was a website, and I posted my information up there, and then I started getting calls. Before you knew it, I was on a flight, my first plane ride ever, to L.A., and, that's history right there.
Wow. I don't think it's like that now, though, is it? Because there's so many people doing it. Can you apply online to be in porn with the big companies? Because you went with some big companies pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the big companies didn't come right away. It was a really small company that got a hold of me at first. And then through them, I learned about the agencies. And then luckily, I chose a really good agent. And, that's why I never really had bad experiences on set or anything. So it was, like what you said, really professional companies or what have you. Right. So, I got to work with them. But, I mean, as professional as the companies were, professional as in I didn't get beat on set. There weren't drugs on set. No one was drinking. It was a pretty professional atmosphere. Everyone's watching their clocks. They just want to do their job, get paid, and go home. So I'm saying professional in that aspect. But as far as, it's also a vicious cycle for women from the porn industry because we don't get any royalties once we leave. Right. So, a musician, like Lil Wayne, for example, you can't tell me that guy knew any better when he was signing contracts of, okay, well, if someone would have said, put down this track and we'll just give you $15,000. And let's say he came from nothing, or some other rapper, came from nothing. And they're like, well, that sounds great. I'll take the $15,000. I don't need anything extra. That they didn't even realize that was an option. Right. And that's what these girls from porn do. They usually come from not that much money and, they start doing porn and they're offered, $2,500, in my case, $2,500 a scene, $3,000 a scene. And I was just like, yeah, sounds great. But then, after a few years, I'm like, well, wait, you can keep on using, right now, if you look, I have 2016 movie releases that are coming out, but I haven't shot in 5 years. Wow. So what's being released, what they do is they just recycle my material over and over. Or even websites like Pornhub, where it's obviously an older scene, but people, will go back and watch it. But I don't make any money off that. Pornhub makes money off that forever. They have all the ads on there and this and that. But I never see any of that money. It's just a one-time fee. So I don't think that it's fair that musicians, people that are in commercials, actors, every other form of entertainment gets paid for the rest of their lives. However, porn stars suffer more than anyone for the rest of their lives, but they don't get royalties from it. So it's like we can't get jobs after we leave the industry, but yet we don't get any compensation either. So it puts women in a pretty vicious cycle of having to stay in the industry to some capacity.
Do you think that because so many people are doing it now, if you say you would become an agent for this and you only let people sign if they got a residual, there's so many other people doing it. Do you think the producers would just go with the other people because they haven't got to pay them residual?
Absolutely. I mean, all the girls smarten up after a few years. You know, you're in it for the first few years. You're like, this is all fun and games. And then you're like, you know, I remember talking to a company and my agent, and I said, hey, I want this. I want to do a separate contract saying you're only going to use this scene one time. I will agree to do this scene, but if you're going to only pay me this amount and no royalties, then you can only use it this one time, and you can only use my images one time. And they said, no, we'll just find someone else then.
Wow.
And it's true. It's true. They would. Because there's a new flood of 18, 19-year-old girls coming in every day that would be more than happy, you know, to make that $2,500 in cash. They don't care about the royalties or anything. They're young. There's no one. It just needs to be unionized, you know. So I'm not going to say, like I said, there's no beating, there's no drugs, like not in my instance, not in LA. But just as far as how it's just kind of shifty that, you know, these huge companies, and they're not even the ones that are the forefront. You know, they have their kids in private school. They're going to, you know, the private elite golf clubs. They don't have any repercussions from their neighbors, from their society, because nobody knows what they really do for a living. They're just like, oh, I'm a computer engineer. No one knows that they're the owner of Pornhub, you know, but people like me, that I was on the forefront of it all, I don't see anything from it, but they make money off of me forever.
How about like Vivid, like, you know, just say like Vivid owns the rights to, I don't know, whatever, all their movies and whatever. If that goes to like, just say Pornhub or Xvideo or one of those things, do they get money from that?
If they put it there themselves, if someone bootlegs it and puts it there, they don't get anything.
Okay. Yeah.
Some of the time they put stuff on Pornhub, they put like a short clip so that you'll go to their website, you know?
I just didn't
know.
Yeah,
a lot of times it is done purposeful now, and also people have gotten really good about doing sweeps of getting stuff taken off.
Right. Did you find that once you became, you know, quote unquote, a household name or a bedroom name, could you get those deals then, you know, with the residual, or they still didn't give it to you?
No, so I was contracted with this company, Adam and Eve, and they told me, you know, like, yeah, we'll pay you royalties, it was crap. It was like 25 cents for every, I don't even know what it was. It wasn't 25 cents for the dollar, I forget, but it wasn't anything. And I'm like, oh, it was really bad. And they gave it to me for a few years after. But then after that, no, nothing. And then Topco, the one that, you know, like I went to an adult store today, for example. I wanted to get some stuff with my girlfriend, and we're going through, and sure enough, there's a whole bunch of toys still. Like these toy companies are putting out my face on all these products. My name and my face are all over all of these products. I see no money from it. Topco, at one point, they offered me 1 penny per item sold, no matter what the item was, no matter what the cost was. I had some toys out there that were going for $200-300. And I made a penny off of them. And I fought with them to get more. That was the most they would give me. And now I see absolutely nothing. They just stopped, and there's no checks at all.
So you can't, I guess you'd have to get a lawyer and take some of those products into the lawyer and say, hey, I've never been paid for this, and they're using my photos.
No, because I signed the paper that says, I signed the release. You can use my images for as long as you want, for whatever you want.
Yeah, forever and ever. So, your new girlfriend, is that one of the reasons that you stopped doing porn?
No, I've been out of porn for 5 years. I've been with her for just a few months.
Oh, okay. Now, you said that, you know, your old girlfriend, you know, didn't want you to do porn. I've talked to a few people that are in porn, and they pretty much say, as long as there's stuff at home that doesn't go on in the films, like if you're in a heterosexual relationship, you can only do lesbian. There wasn't any kind of discussion like that?
I mean, no. While I was in the industry, I didn't date women. Okay, like we all know, dating women, that's pretty tough, right? Like, so I didn't even try. I just dated guys. Guys are pretty easygoing. And my relationships during the time I was in porn, they were pretty healthy. They were for the most part, Indiana guys. And, you know, I would just leave I would go 2 weeks, because I always lived in Indiana the whole time I did porn. So fly to LA for 2 weeks and then fly back to Indiana 2 weeks. So 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I did that for the whole 4 years I was in the industry.
Wow.
And it would just, you know, they drop me off at the airport, kiss, goodbye. Okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And, we would talk, every night or every other night on the phone, but not, not about that. Like I was very waspy about it. Not because ashamed or anything, but it's just, no boyfriend wants to hear, yeah, I got, rammed in the ass today by some dude. Like, unless it was like I did a super hot lesbian scene with Sasha Grey, it just wasn't talked about.
So you never dated any guys in the porn industry, I guess?
Oh, God, no.
Was there any stuff that you wouldn't do on film that you would do with your boyfriends?
No. I mean, I never really separated it like that. I never understood that to this day. I mean, it's really shocking to me. When I first started in porn, they have me going through the list of things that I will and won't do. They're like blowjob, I'm like check. They're like lesbian, check. And then they're like interracial. And I'm like, interracial? And I looked up at my agent and I'm like, why is having sex with another race listed here with sexual acts?
Because
and he was like, because it's considered like a bonus. People get paid more. And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be part of that racist like area where I'm going to get paid more to have sex just because. And it wasn't like any race. It's just black guys. And I'm not going to like, it's not anything less for me to be having sex with a black guy versus a white guy. And that's just another part of that industry where I'm like, oh my gosh, if this was unionized, this would never fly. This could never pass in anywhere else in life. That's insane that they can do that.
Do you think it was because the black guys are generally bigger?
No, absolutely. There's plenty of white actors that are just as big. It's not the case. Absolutely no.
I'd love to know how a guy gets into porn. I mean, does he have to go to some kind of audition and get his dick out, I guess, and show how big it is? Because you don't see many guys with little dicks in porn.
No, you don't. I think what that attributes to is just it boils down to angles, like because if you pay attention in porn, they're not doing it straight onto each other. They're always at an angle, as they call it, opening up for camera. Right. So they're always coming in at an angle. And obviously, if you only have 5 inches to work with rather than 8, obviously 8 inches is going to be easier to be able to get in and out, but still be able to show the camera. So it's just a matter of like, working that out.
I wonder if I wonder if guys with small dicks just don't apply. So you don't really regret anything about the whole porn thing, right? You just don't want people to go through the bullshit afterwards.
Yeah, no, because I embrace my sexuality. I am not ashamed of what I did. I'm not. I mean, people will come on my social media now and they'll be like, I just watched you on Pornhub. And I'm like, good for you, dude. Like, hope you had a good time. I don't care. Like, whatever. Yeah. It's like, seriously, go get a life, man. Like, I'm sorry that you feel so intimidated by a successful woman that you have to come on here and be sexist to me right now and try to beat me down. Right. But, like, it's 2016, bro. Like, it's not this whore, slut, all of that stuff. It's not flying anymore.
Why? Because porn is pretty much mainstream at this point, so no one, like, gives a shit. It wasn't like the old days. We interviewed Ginger Lynn, like, a month ago. And the stories she told were completely different to what you're saying. I mean, there was drugs everywhere, fast cars, alcohol. Some of the porn stars were accused of raping each other, But one thing she did get, she got the residuals. She owns nearly all of her films now. So somehow she kept the ownership of the films. Maybe back then.
That's great, yeah. I mean, in my time in the industry, it was all about, that's how I was so popular, is by working with all the different companies, by doing all those different types of scenes, because you have to look at it as a pie. Like, some people only will go to Pornhub for their porn, or some people will only go to Elegant Angel for their porn. So obviously the more companies you work for, the more people will see you. And then, obviously some people only like anal, or some people only like blowjob, or some only like girl. So the more things you do and the more companies you work with, as common sense would go, the more people are going to see you and be exposed to you. So I tried to do as much of that pie as possible.
Right. Now, any of your boyfriends that you were with during, you were working, how many times did they suggest you bring one of the girls home? You know?
Never,
Really?
never. They were hella respectful. Like,
Wow.
no, I'm telling you, I dated like such gentlemen. Like, I don't know how I want to call it lucky now, but I really didn't. I'm just a really good judge of character, and I just dated really solid guys.
Did these guys like know what you're into before they, you know, were going out with you? Because I wonder if that's how you got the good guys, because it was guys that didn't know what you did.
No, they knew. Yeah, they knew. There's no hiding it, especially from here. You know, I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is like, it's not a small town, but everyone knows who I am here.
Right.
There's no hiding who I am.
Yeah.
Even in LA, the dating scene, no, everyone, I had to be very upfront always about it, who I was.
I know if I was looking on Tinder and I saw your picture, I'd be like, okay, swipe yes for left. Oh my God. So, at the height, you know, you did Penthouse, you did Hustler, and then
Playboy.
Yeah, Playboy. It must have been wild, you know. Get it? You probably were more recognizable than half the movie stars in the world at that point.
It is crazy because I'll look at my social media and then I'll look at other celebrity social media and there's not nearly as big. Like, I'm double the size of them, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel that way, but I guess it's true.
I mean,
It's true.
I was listening to an interview with Amy Schumer, and she was talking about how she's suddenly blown up, and now, you know, it's hard to walk down the street, and everybody knows you, and now they want to know anything shitty you've done in the last 20 years, and they put it on Twitter, and she, you know, she's having trouble keeping up with the level of the fame she has now.
Right. I mean, I was, you know, definitely, of course, the height was while I was dating Charlie. I never had so many cameras in my face. I mean, you want to talk about chance, you know, of me I happened to be dating him when he decided to quit 2.5 Men and have a crazy meltdown, and I'm like living with this guy. And it was just insane. And then he wanted to do a tour. And so I'm like right by his side. And the media storm was insane. I mean, you know, I can only think of a few other instances like that where paparazzi were that crazy. Like, you know, during the Britney Spears time, and now, you know, with the Kardashians. But it was a really, really, like, to be thrown into that. I mean, coming from an experience like that, I can handle anything, you know, like. That was, talk about being paranoid. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the documentary about Amy Winehouse, and when that Rehab song came out that she did, I don't know if you're familiar with it, it blew up like that, and these reporters were camped out outside her house, and she'd be doing coke and going down the street and passing out, and everyone would be on, you know, TMZ, you know, and it was just unbelievably crazy, and it was pretty much what put the end to her, because she just had no privacy. She couldn't deal with it, because when she started singing, she just wanted to be a singer. She didn't give a shit about people caring about it, buying records, you know. So I guess it's like that, you know. So have you had any contact with any of Charlie's camps since this whole thing went down?
No, it was absolutely terrible. I, you know, came back here. Like I said, I just moved back, and I came back here the beginning of November 1st, and I came back to write my book. And literally, so I was here. I was like, okay, I'm going to be here for 2 weeks and then start writing. On day 15, I'm going to start writing my book, you know, once I get settled.
Right.
And so day 15 came around, and I sit down with my laptop. And up until then, every day I was getting calls and emails and texts from all these reporters, CNN, Fox, Dr. Phil, the doctors, like you name it. You name a talk show, you name a news source, I was being hit up. And they're like, tell us about Charlie, da-da-da-da-da. I hear he's HIV positive. Are you HIV positive?
Oh my God.
And I was like, I don't want anything to do with it. And then just to give a time frame, so I posted a very, you know, just fluffy type of response on my social, and it just happened to be on the day that the Paris thing had happened. Or what was it that? Something globally really terrible had happened, and people gave me crap for it because they didn't know about the Charlie thing yet.
Right.
And I had just said, for everyone contacting me, please stop. I do not have anything. I wish everyone else all the best. I have a clean bill of health. And then people were like, well, there's so much other stuff going on in the world. And I'm thinking to myself, well, y'all are going to be paying attention in about 3 days because it's going down. So then I was just ignoring. And then finally someone told me, so I'm sitting there, like I literally had written, I'm on page 2 of my book. Yeah. And someone called me, one of my friends, and they're like, hey, Charlie is going to be on TV tomorrow. He's going to be on whatever it was, like the Good Morning Show or something. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, and I know Charlie, I know him. So I'm like, this is not good. I said, whatever he's about to go do, I need to do damage control because I just have a really bad feeling. And so I'm like, okay, so I contacted Howard Stern because I'm like, I get so scared because all of these interviewers, they'll chop it up, they'll piece it together, and they'll make the interview look like whatever they want to. The one person that I know does a straight interview, there's no cuts, and it's all the way through, is a Howard Stern interview, and Howard's interviewed me multiple times before, and that's where a majority of my base listeners are anyways, my fans and stuff. Right. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is the most perfect outlet for me to go. So I drove to New York overnight because the flights had already left for the day. Like, this is how last minute my decision was because I didn't hear about that he was going on. So I get to New York, no sleep. I'm walking into the Howard Stern building, and I'm listening to the Charlie Sheen interview as I'm walking into the building. And I hear Charlie say, I have known that I have HIV for the last 4 years. Right. And I was like, what? I'm like, you must. And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, I'm like, I never expected. My heart sank. I mean, luckily, I'm a very responsible adult. I always get tested every single year. Every time I go in for my, just my yearly exam, my pap smear, what have you, I always get tested, and then if I ever have to go in for something else on top of that, whether it's a new partner or whatever, and we want to get tested together because we want to be able to have unprotected sex, I always got tested then. So I've been tested at least 10 times for HIV since I had been with him. And then it just from being in the porn industry, you had to get tested once a month being in the industry. Right, so it's something that I had just become very cautious and aware of how important it is to stay tested at all times. And so... and then I had done a test right the day before Howard Stern too. I had just done one because I was going to post it on my social, like take a photo of it and just to be like, look, you guys, I don't have it. So I took it with me to the interview. And then while I was in New York, I did one TV interview too. I'm like, okay, one radio, one TV, I'm good. So they got the most raw interview out of me because I literally heard that news with everyone else. And I'm like, how dare you have subjected me to that? And then, of course, his people came back right away and said, no, he didn't find out until, they said it publicly. They said, Charlie did not find out until after Bri had left the tour. And I'm like, okay, but he could have contracted it, even if that's the truth. He could have contracted it during that time. And then they came back and said, no, he found out several months after the tour. And I'm like, okay, anything I would say, they would just come back and say something completely different. And I'm like, you guys, that dude, it's illegal. If he was anyone else, if he wasn't Charlie, he would be in prison right now. It's illegal in California to have unprotected sex with people knowing that you are HIV positive. Wow. And him and his crazy doctor can sit there all day and say that his counts are all the way down and it makes it okay to go have unprotected sex. First of all, you're spreading a terrible message to society, to anyone that may have it. And, they don't have Charlie Sheen money to get their count all the way down, but they just hear part of what you're saying and they go around having unprotected sex. And, people want to treat him as a martyr and be like, oh, this could be a really good thing. This is positive. No, he had sex with hundreds, potentially thousands of women in the last 4 years, unprotected, knowing he has HIV, and now is continuing to spread a message that it is okay to have unprotected sex having HIV. He is not to be looked up to in any regard.
He's also one of the people that's singing about this Truvada. I'm sure you've heard of that. the drug that you take that stops you catching it, supposedly.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, it's called Truvada. Now, he says that the girl he was last with in the relationship, his doctor, this wonderful guy that, you know, is in his pocket, I guess, was prescribing Truvada to this girl. You know, and they've had tests with this thing. There's about 10,000 people in San Francisco on it, and they monitored 600 people, and none of them have caught anything since they've been on it. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the one person who catches it, you know, trusting that drug.
Yeah, I don't know who that girl is, but I'm telling you what, if I was in that position, if I would have known, if, you know, someone would have came to me with that and they would have been like, look, if you want to have sex with Charlie, he has HIV and you got to take this. I would have been like, I'm sorry, I'm out.
Fuck
you know,
no.
like I already did leave. I did not knowing, or maybe at the time he really didn't have it, but I left on my own without any HIV. And I mean, this, by the way, is no slander to anyone that is HIV positive or
Right.
that has AIDS. I want to make that very clear.
Absolutely.
I completely support and have empathy for anyone that has contracted this disease. It's a terrible thing to have happen. You can lead a completely full life with it. But I would like to say that, of course, I am tearing someone apart that is,
Right.
you know, going around messing with people's health and lives by not letting them know and having unprotected
he's
sex.
being
I think that that's a
irresponsible.
really unfair, unjust thing to do.
He's being very irresponsible. I mean, there's also, you hear about guys going around that have it, trying to get people to have it too, and they get convicted of murder or attempted murder.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So if he had told you he had HIV, so, you know, supposedly he didn't know, but if he had told you while you were with him, you wouldn't have trusted this drug, right?
No. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding? No way. I would have left. I would have been like, I'm sorry. No way. Like, no freaking way. No way.
That's pretty. I don't know anyone who'd sign up. I don't care if it's been tested on 1 million people. I could be that odd one, you know, that it gets passed. I'd love to know what you'd say to him if he called you.
Oh, I have no words for him now. I'm so, it's, as you can tell, he upset me so much. It's like, it's beyond he's just a bad person. He's just a really bad person. And, you know, I don't pay attention to the media or anything, but I can just imagine, you know, that there's this group of people that are just like, yay, Charlie. And it's like, y'all are sheep. Like, don't support him. That's crazy. No way.
It's all about his money. That's why, and his fame. If he was,
yeah. Now, I mean, look, he's using this to his advantage to now promote, you know, drugs. Like, to tell people, like, look, as long as you take this drug now. So now he's also telling people that have a clean bill of health, go ahead, have unprotected sex as long as you take this pill. Great.
Yep.
He's doing double time.
I mean, I hope it does work. I mean, I'm not going to bash the people that figured that out. If it does work, are geniuses, you know. And then there was also a show on HBO on what's that series? I've forgotten what it is now. But they had a one-off show about these people that have actually cured a couple of people of AIDS. They've actually cured them. They're still trying to perfect how they did it. They're not really sure exactly how they did it. So you got to give it to these scientists. But you know. Who's going to take Charlie Sheen as their doctor? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would say to any woman considering doing porn other than what you wrote on that Twitter?
No, I mean, that's about it. You know, you have to take into consideration, like I said, when you're young, you know, 18 to 25. Or even older than that. It's just, you know, you may just be, you're single, you're just partying, you're loving sex, great. But at some point, even if you don't believe it in the moment, at some point, you're going to be walking down the aisle, most likely, not always, but most likely, like statistics show, there's going to be a point where you're going to be walking down the aisle and you're going to have to look that person in the eyes. And you're going to have to answer to not only them, but you're going to look over at that side of the pews, and you're going to see every single one of their family members, and they're all going to have to know that you have done that. And then the person marrying you is going to have to know. And then your children that you're going to have are going to go to school. And then the parents of those children will talk. Those children will overhear their parents talk, and then those children will come to school and start making fun of your children and say, your mommy's a whore, your mommy's a slut, da-da-da-da-da. Do you really want to put yourself through that? Life is hard enough. Being a mother's hard enough. Being a wife is hard enough. Making friends is difficult enough. Just don't do it.
So what made it, was it just time for you where you just thought that this is it, that you just, when you got out of porn, that you just had enough of it and you wanted to start a different chapter in your life? Or
well, I stopped porn because I made the mistake of thinking that stopping porn I would get respect. And so I quit porn, and then like, okay, respect me now. And everyone was like, no, you're still Bri Olson. And I'm like, oh, snap. I'm like, well, I could have I seriously could have just made another like $5 million. Like, what did I do? I just threw away $5 million for respect. Right. I'm like, you guys are killing me. Come on. But, yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Right. I mean, if it was 1975 and you stopped doing porn, you might have got away with it. But now you got the internet, you know. Everybody knows everybody.
Oh, man, that internet, though. Oh, it's like the greatest thing and the worst thing ever invented.
Yeah, I mean, I see you promote your little online store, the official BriOlson.com, right? You still do that. I see that on your Periscope. You promote that a bit. So,
yes, officialbriolson.com. That's my jingle.
Yeah. Now, the BriOlson.com, is that your old video company or some jerk-off pretending to be you? Or?
It's a confusing legal and technical story. But, yeah, I technically own it, but I don't have anything to – I own the domain, but I don't have anything to do with the website, if that makes any sense.
No, right. Yeah, okay. So I'm just.
But officialbriolson.com. That's my site, and anyone can go on there. They can get Twitter follow, Periscope follow, Snapchat, Instagram, and then I also do private group scopes, private one-on-one scopes, phone calls, FaceTime, tons of comfy shirts on there, all kinds of stuff.
What do you get if you sign up for a private Periscope with you?
Just me talking.
Oh.
What I'm doing now? No, none of that. No.
I guess I'll mail you a check. So when are we going to hear you on Opie and Jimmy again?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Because I was kind of hoping that you'd go on there and not on Howard when you did your announcement. You know.
Really?
Well, you know, we're just fans of that. I mean, Howard, we get, you know, the interview skills he has, and I'm obviously, you know, a lot of people listen, but you know, we're just, you know, a little bummed that you didn't stop by Opie and Jimmy.
Oh no, I mean that's not even like no. If I do Howard, then it's you know it's off the table for anyone else, and I'll always choose Howard over anyone really. I mean, like I said, I had every single news source contact me,
right,
and I chose Howard over everyone.
Right. I thought you and Jimmy were close at one point. Or was that like years ago?
I mean, like we like chatted for a hot second.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like a little blimp, like on the radar. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know, I just wondered. I mean, I hear a lot that Howard tells a lot of his guests not to go on Opie's show.
Oh no, Howard would never say that. No, he's so busy too. But no, it's just. I'm not allowed to go on anyone's show, you know, like after Howard, like no radio. It's just a thing. Like if you're on a radio tour, you go to certain radio stations, you have to sign a thing that says it's a non-compete, you know, at least for like a day or two.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to just stay in New York and wait it out. You know,
right.
Like we're busy people. We have to get back to our lives. So it's like, well, if I can only choose one, it's Howard. Done. You know, okay.
I mean, I get the whole thing, you know, with his interview and everything. So don't get me wrong. You know, he does good interviews. You know, we just, you know, it's just the other guys that listen to Opie and that they miss you. You know.
No, they're great over there. They're great. Yeah, but you know, I love Howard. I watched Howard on E! Network when I was like 12 years old. I've been such a fan of Howard ever since I was a little girl.
So going back to your book, are you still writing it, or is that kind of on hold now, or?
Yeah, I just started to feel better. I got a terrible ulcer, 100% induced by stress. They had tested for H. pylori, which is the virus that causes most ulcers, and there was no H. pylori or anything in my system. So yeah, it was just a stress-induced ulcer, which I should really send Charlie all the medical bills for all of that. I had to get an endoscopy and everything. Yeah, so I mean, you know, when you see so many people saying, "Die, bitch, you have HIV," da-da-da-da-da.
Fuck them.
Hope your dead mother's proud of you.
Nice.
Hope you give your kids HIV. Die, die, die. Like, once you see that on repeat like 1,000 times, it does a toll on your body. So I got an ulcer, and now that my body's almost repaired from being 80 years old, like the stress of like 80 years, I'm getting back on track now. Like I said, I'm finally back on my feet. It had me like bedridden. It was really bad. But now I'm back. I've been back for about 3 days now, and I'm, you know, putting my piano stand together and everything, and hopefully in the next week or so, I'll be back to writing.
So I guess you've got some extra chapters you're going to put on there now.
Oh, no. It's a trilogy. It's a trilogy. So the book, this first book it doesn't even touch about anything about any of that.
Okay.
Everything, my porn life is, I know it's extremely fascinating to other people because they don't know anything about porn, but my life, which, you know, I haven't shared a lot of my life with people, but it's the before porn and after porn, especially the before porn, is so much more fascinating to me than during my porn years. And so I really think that other people will find it fascinating as well. So that's what I'm writing about.
That sounds great. I mean, I read the Tracy Lords book, and I was, you know, there was only about 4 pages of that was porn. So we've got a caller that wants to ask you a question. Hold on 1 second. Jen, turn your radio down.
It's down.
Okay, Jen, you're on with Bree.
Hi, Bree.
Hi.
Hi. I was encouraged to call by Big A because he knows I'm a fan of your scopes.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I love my scope girls. I was just telling Suze, I said, I am so, like, I totally favorite my girls over the guys. I said, I don't even care.
Because the guys are lame in there, that's why. They want to be girls so badly, except for Clay. Clay's the only guy that's okay.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He stands out. I tried to hit on Phil a little bit, and he didn't take it. He actually just completely ignored me, so I'm a little burned towards him. But
you got to hit up Roger. Roger just went through a breakup.
Oh, really?
Okay, this is like
Roger
a personal
I
thing.
know.
It was Roger that I hit on, I think, because I said, does the face match the back end? Because his back is facing on his picture. So I hit on him. It was Roger, not Phil. I'm getting my scopers confused. Sorry, Paul. What did you say?
No, I was just saying that we have no idea who the fuck you people are talking about.
Because this is an exclusive club, and you're not in the club.
Okay. Well, okay.
Paul wouldn't be allowed in the club anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not allowed in the club. Yeah.
Whatever. You wish you were in the club.
Yeah.
No, it's Periscope. These are like, Bree's huge on Periscope, and she's honestly so entertaining. I'll pull it up at work when I'm listening, like just, you know, doing random things and I want background noise. I'll pull it up and I listen. I get so distracted sometimes, but it's like a little mini soap opera, and Bree has like a huge following, and these people are not just followers, but they're like family, and they care so much about her. And, you know, she cares a lot about them as well. And it's crazy to see, like, these are people all over the United States, even in other countries. And they all know so much about Bree. Bree knows so much about them. It's really cool.
So
you know,
it is really cool.
Explain to me how it works other than you can watch her do stuff and then you can make comments. Is there, like, some kind of group chat thing that I'm missing here that I don't know about? Is that
it's like you can have, like, your little mini Periscope cults. Like,
okay.
No, you can do groups. That's one of the things that's on the official BriOlson.com.
Oh, there you go.
Is buying like private scopes and stuff. So you can do it that way. But I'm not like I scope. I do my own little scope thing here and there. And I'm a little obsessed with it, but I'm not too in tune with it. So Bree's probably the better one to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, I subscribed to Bree on my my Periscope, and then everybody at my job got annoyed because it would go off every 7 minutes. Bree's going to the shops. Bree's going to the mailbox. Bree's
Bree's
opening
doing
mouth.
makeup.
Yeah.
I always do makeup scopes because I suck at makeup. So.
Dude, that's funny.
But I definitely wanted to call in and talk to you because this is an awesome opportunity, and I want to let you know that I actually probably a week ago, I finally got in the chat. It's hard to get in the chat if you don't have a follow, though. So you have to know the trick, which I learned from watching, of, leaving and coming back in. So I've kind of gotten a pro at that. But I was the one that said something like, all my followers are O&A degenerates, so I'm kind of used to the idiots saying stupid things. I actually heard of you and learned of you from Opie and Anthony days, not Opie and Jimmy. I actually don't really listen anymore. Sorry, guys. But listen, I chose Anthony, I guess. But yeah, that's where I started. And then once you popped up on Periscope after everything going on, I just started watching regularly. So I definitely wanted to say hi.
Jen, do you have any actual question?
I did, but I don't remember now. Sorry.
I loved it. Well, I know that they're over there being salty, but I loved your call-in, and I thought it was fabulous.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, suck it, Paul.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks a lot. All right, take care. Oh, God, that's funny. Of course, that's made me totally forget what I was going to ask you before. Anybody else who wants to call in that's listening, 609-891-8391. Before Bree has to leave. I've totally forgotten what my question was. I had it and then somebody called. Yeah, so this whole Periscope thing, I didn't realize that there was so much you could do. I thought you just got to watch you do stuff.
I mean, it's, people chat in the comments, and I mean, obviously if someone hangs around enough, then I start to recognize them and I learn about them, and if they follow me, then I see their scopes come up in my feed as well, so then I can see them. And it's just a really fast way to get to know people and, be able to gain perspective on them, because you can just tell a lot by a person. If they're scoping, if they're in front of a camera just being raw, real themselves in front of their phone, it's very telling. And so it's very quick to be like, okay, no, this person's crazy, this person's awesome, this person's in the middle, and what have you,
Yeah, I mean, the internet as a whole is just really a piece of shit. If you want to get appreciated, the internet's not the place. I mean, I don't know if you ever go on Reddit. Reddit, they have nothing positive to say about anyone ever. and Twitter's not that far behind. It makes me wonder if someone like you should even be on some of that stuff, because is it worth all the bullshit you have to deal with the nice people?
Oh my gosh, Periscope, the positive definitely outweighs the negative, totally. Reddit, yeah, you're right. Reddit is a corner of the internet that I do not like to visit. People, I mean, it's just like anything else, anytime I click on, I'll be on Twitter, and there'll be a really nasty comment, oh, go back to sucking dick, you whore. And then I look down, I'll click on their profile, and then 5 comments down is then a racial comment, I need my Confederate flag, or America's the best country ever, or I eat bacon because I'm a man, just a typical bull crap. And I mean, I'm okay, you're all the most typical, just you're racist, sexist, and then there's always a homophobic thing too, right. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and I'm oh God, it's every single one, no matter what, it has yet to fail me of me clicking on someone's profile. I usually don't take the time. I'll usually just delete block, but sometimes I'll click just out of curiosity, and every single time there will be a homophobic, a racist, and a sexist comment every single time.
Or they look
it's like a trio.
Or it's a woman that looks like Mama June who's criticizing you.
Yeah.
I remember when we posted the Ginger Lynn video on Twitter. She had some very not so nice stuff to say about Ron Jeremy and Tracy Lords from back in the day, and I mistakenly tagged Tracy Lords on that, and I got blocked by her.
Oh.
Yeah, just for posting the interview with Ginger Lynn. So it's funny how it's all still going on. All the bullshit that was back then. Like you say, it's a lot different now. Everything's more professional. It's all, I mean, is there any people you don't get along with, or it's just business, and then when you leave the room, that's the end of it?
Yeah, no, it's business. I don't remember most of the people that I even worked with in the industry. There'd be these chicks that'd come up to me and be like, hey, how are you? You know, and I'm like, hi. And they're like, you know, a few of them called me out. Sometimes they didn't, but sometimes they did, and it was really awkward. They'd be like, you don't know who I am, do you? And I'm like, and they're like, we did a scene together. And I'm like, oh man, I've, you know, slammed a lot of girls. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
Well, who was like? I mean, you probably remember something like Sasha Grey, like somebody
right?
like
yeah. I mean, there's a few. You know,
right.
There's like my 20 that I would remember. You know, out of the lineup. But beyond that, everyone's just kind of like a blur. It's not like
right.
I mean, did you have any favorites that you'd always, try to work with, or you just had a variety of different people all over the place so you could be on it, different companies?
No, you know, I really treated porn as just be as successful as possible. Just I'm an extremely hard worker in anything I do. So regardless of if it was porn or not, I never wanted to make it difficult by any means. So, you know, different companies, different people, different situations, they wanted that particular male for some reason, you know, whether it was a discounted rate that they got with that person or they really enjoyed that person's scenes, whatever it was. And I always did whatever I could to make sure that that company liked me as much as possible so that I would get hired again and again,
right.
or that I would get the box cover or what have you. It was just a very business mindset in that aspect. I didn't care who I worked with. I wasn't there to make friends. I was just there to make money and be successful.
There's one porn star that I can't remember his name. It was a guy. He recently just got accused of doing all kinds of nasty shit with the girls. What was his name?
James Dean.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he was hella rough in one of my scenes. I was like, you know, talking about it in one of my scopes, and then I went back and I watched the scene, and I ended up crying from watching the scene. I was like, oh wow, like that. I didn't expect that I would have that type of emotional reaction to a scene I had done. But yeah, I mean, he had been put on my no list at one point, and then I had mistakenly taken him off because a company, like I said, I want to be a people pleaser, and this company really wanted me to work with him. And so I put him on, you know, I'm like, okay, but promise you won't be rough with me again. He's like, I promise. And then that's when that scene happened, is, you know, after he had promised he wouldn't be rough, and then he did that. So, because there's a difference between scenes looking rough, you know, like we do this for a living, you know, you can make something look like it's a lot harder or that it's hurting more than what it is. And there's, you know, it's, we're trained, we do it for a living. That's what we do. But he would actually do it. He would actually be rough and be like full fledged, and it would really hurt. And, yeah. I mean, I don't have any, I totally believe anyone that says that he was rapey. I mean, I don't doubt it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Farrah Abraham from Teen Mom, who did a couple porns with him or porn scenes or something with him, accused James Dean of the same type of shit.
I mean, someone told me that somebody did a scene with him and had a safe word, and he didn't even care about the safe word.
I totally believe that. I mean, I'm not shocked at all. Anything I heard about James Dean not respecting sexual boundaries in any way, I 100% believe.
Now, what was the strangest thing someone asked you to do, or you kind of shied away from anything that wasn't mainstream?
There's nothing where, I mean, everything went through my agent, so I don't know. I'm sure, you know, he had weird requests, but I never heard about it.
Yeah, did you ever make any private porn for people? They hired you for the hour and they made their own video, or you never really got into that?
No.
No. I hear that, like, you know, and you never wanted to go to the bunny ranch, right?
Oh my gosh, I went there just like last year. We were like going on a hiking trip, and we were hiking. We did the Grand Canyon, and then we were driving to Yosemite National Park, and we passed not the Bunny Ranch, but like the sister
right. Then it
company
sounds like
of the
10 of
Bunny
them at this
Ranch,
point.
and I'm like, oh my God, it's a brothel. You know, because I know in other countries they're like a thing, but here they're not legal anywhere else except for like this one county and this one state. And I was so freaked out. I'm like, we have to go in, and they let us come in and do a tour, and it was like so boring. It's nothing like it is in the movies. I'm like, this is lame.
Right. No, actually, I meant, did you ever get approached to work there for like a week? Because they have a lot of porn stars that work there, you know, like Sunset Thomas. she works there 2 weeks and, and charges, thousands and thousands of dollars an hour.
Good for her.
Yeah.
That's not, I was a porn star.
Yeah. Would you ever go back to being a porn star if the money was right?
No, the money is right. Trust me, it's there. No, I'm not going back.
And so what happens after you write your book and sell it? Where do you want to go next? Do you have any ideas?
I don't know. I mean, I want to travel all over the world. That's my biggest thing. I just want to travel. I think that, people are really scared of truly living their lives and, going beyond, where they're raised. And, people don't put enough emphasis on getting away and exploring the world. And it's so huge. And I want to see every country. I want to see more than every country. Right. I would love to explore several cities in every country if given the opportunity. And, just spend the majority of my life just traveling and just as hippy dippy as that sounds, but I mean, truthfully, I want to experience all the different foods. If you look back at your happiest times in your life, it's when you were experiencing cool new things. And why not just have a life full of that? Why are we just sitting in our houses all day, like being miserable? I don't want to live that way, and I want to set my life up so that I'm not living that way, and I want to just go see everything and do everything and meet new people.
Now, would you do like hostels, or would you like schedule appearances all over the place so you could get the travel a bit better? How do you fancy?
I'm not opposed to either. I'm a huge hiker, so I'm used to roughing it. I don't really care. I don't have to stay at. I don't even have to stay at a Days Inn. I was gonna say I don't have to stay at a Hilton, but I don't even have to have a Days Inn. Like, I don't care. I really don't. Hostels. That's a little. I don't know. Like, I would rather just pitch a tent and sleep in the woods than be in a hostel, because it's like then I'm like with other people and other people. Like I'm allergic. But yeah.
So, when did you become a vegan? Have you always been a vegan?
No, oh my gosh, I'm a murderer right now. I'm just eating meat left and right. It's terrible. I had a barbecue
you better update your
pork sandwich today.
You better update your Wikipedia, because Wikipedia says you're a vegan.
Yeah. Well, I was for a moment, and I was a huge activist, and I still am, as you can hear. I seriously, as much, but I can joke about it now. See, before I couldn't say that. I couldn't go around calling all y'all murderers. Right. But now I can, because I'm one of you, so once you're one of them, then you can joke about it. Be like, hey, we're killing everything and eating it. So I've been, on my killing spree lately, and until I'm done being Dexter with the animals, then, I don't know. I do hope to go back to being vegan, because I feel a lot less guilty, for sure. I know what I'm doing. I know the destruction it causes, and I know how many animal lives I saved a year on a vegan diet, but I've just been a lazy asshole. I really have no excuse.
Don't you think that, I don't really want to get into a huge vegan versus, carnivore type thing, but I was just wondering, don't you think that, cows and that, they're there to eat? What are you going to do with a cow?
They're made, though. They're, mass produced.
Right.
In the U.S., there's only 6 meat companies, major meat companies, where it's something like between 95 and 98% of all meat comes from these 5 factories, and they mass produce these animals for us to eat. If there was, the less demand there is for meat, the less cows will be, being made. It's not like there's just cows all over grazing all over the grass. It's not what's going on.
That's what Paul thinks.
When you read something that says grass fed, that's still a lie. That doesn't mean that they were in mom and pop's backyard, grazing on the grass. That could just mean that they put some type of grass feed in the food that they're giving them, along with all the steroids and injections and everything else that they're doing. Not to say, obviously, there are people that have hens in their backyard, and, they go and collect the fresh eggs. Great. If there's any way to be honest with your food, I'm all about being honest with your food. Like hunters, for example, as much as I think hunters are complete psychopaths, I really can't argue with it, because if you can look something in the eye and kill it, you earned it, dude. Go get it. If you can do that. But you know, for these women that are like, oh, I only eat chicken breast or I only eat filet mignon. Well, you're eating pieces of meat that least resemble. That's why they're the most popular, is because they don't resemble an animal. They don't smell like an animal. You can't tell. It's very far removed from what it came from what it initially looked like. And I think that's what's important to me, is to raise awareness. Like this was a living thing. And I think that if people actually had to go out and say, okay, here's your cow, here's your pig, and here's your chicken for the next month. If you kill them, then you can eat them. And I promise you, like 80% of the world would be like, I'm just going to eat the vegetables. I can't do it. I cannot bring myself to do it. I'm maybe not vegan, but at least vegetarian, you know, like, and they eat eggs and everything. But they'd be like, I'm looking at this cow, and now it has a name, and I've been petting it every day. I just don't think a lot of people really could do it.
Why a vegan, not a vegetarian? Why would you care about not eating unfertilized eggs or milk or butter? Why is that?
It's just it's not good for you. It's not good for you, and it also, the way that dairy cows are treated. You know, they're shackled up all day. A lot of dairy cows, they never see the sunlight ever their entire lives. They're just used for the protection of dairy, or the production of dairy. And then once their use is gone, then they're slaughtered and they're used for dog food or whatever, what have you. It's a really sad life. And the same for the chickens that lay eggs. It's the same thing for them. They never see daylight. You know, they're just used to make these eggs, and it's supporting animal abuse.
So if we stopped eating chickens and they went extinct, wouldn't you feel kind of bad that there's no more chickens?
That's silly. Chickens will not go extinct from us not eating them. They're making it's the opposite. Right? They're making millions of chickens right now for us to be able to eat. There's so many chickens because of humans wanting to eat them. So as long as you keep wanting to eat chickens, don't worry. The top factories will keep making them for you. Yeah, and they'll keep pumping them full of steroids, and a little baby chick will be a grown hen in a month because of all the stuff that they put in them to make them grow fast, so they can get them out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, chicken's like the only thing I can eat right now because I'm on a massive crazy diet, which Chris makes fun of me for, because I had the weight loss surgery. So, you know, I'm only eating protein. So if you can't get rid of the chickens, Bri, I need chickens.
I don't argue with people. I don't argue. Yeah, if you go for it.
I hope no one listening calls Peter and doesn't tell him to take their honorary lettuce lady award back from you.
I know. I've been terrible. I've been really bad. I don't know. I went to bat pretty hard just now, though. I feel like
you did. You did good.
That was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah,
it would make me want to, like, I don't like to think of that because I have people in my family that hunt, and they've been they're hunters for years, and they go out and they kill the shit and they eat it. And I know I couldn't hunt, you know what I mean?
And see the animal and then eat it.
Right, I couldn't do that, but I would say this, I could probably give up eating meat, but I probably couldn't give up eating, like,
eggs.
Yeah, or like seafood.
I support that because being a vegan, it is hard. It's tough. It's tough to go to restaurants and, like, even the noodles, things you don't think about. It's made out of eggs a lot of the time, you know? So, yeah, definitely. Vegetarian and vegan, huge difference. Huge difference. Vegetarian isn't too difficult to do. You know, just keep some meat out of your diet and you're good to go. You know, but, yeah, for sure. But, yeah, what you said about the hunters, like I said, you can't argue with a hunter, you know? Like other people, you know, you can be like, do you know where this is from? But hunters, you can't say that. They know. They killed it.
My cousin, his this is his second wife or second marriage, I guess. But the girl he married, she hunts too, and all their kids hunt.
Dynasty.
They all hunt, and he's been hunting since he was a kid. He's like, you know, he's in his.
What does he hunt? Deer.
He hunts deer and rabbit. He hunts bear. I mean, he actually goes and hunts bear, and he doesn't. And he hunts bear like a bow. Like, he does it like the real, like, I'll say caveman type of way. He hunts bear with bow and arrows. So, like,
How the fuck you kill a bear with a bow and arrow?
He's very skilled. He's very skilled. He's got like a bunch of them, and I respect him for that. But I couldn't do it. I could never do it.
I mean, if you're living in the wilderness, I mean, like, you know, and that's your only chance to get food, then go ahead. But I think these assholes that go out and shoot lions and fucking elephants,
well,
that's
totally it's bullshit. That dentist,
assholes.
that dentist, they should hang
kick his
him
teeth
by
in.
his fucking
Needs to kick his
nuts,
teeth
yeah.
out. Is what they should do.
Trophy hunters, guys that do that kind of stuff, they should be really reprimanded. That's the problem too. Is like even with animal abuse now, there's really the laws are so minimal. People what they do to like cats and dogs and shit like that it really pisses me off. In fact, I shouldn't say this, but Paul actually picked his dog up the one time and he flung it across.
Let me give the backstory before you fucking get me killed.
Well, I had to put that out there.
Right. But my dog is very protective of whoever it's sitting on, so it was sitting on my lap, and my wife went to touch me, and it got her on the arm, and it had her in like a teeth lock in the arm. And I learned from past experience, if you just pull it off, it goes right back on. So I had to like whip it, a couple of feet away. So, it wasn't that bad. I didn't throw it at the window.
I'm just listening, and I'm always really in awe of how humans, just based on what society taught them to be important, how you value certain animal lives over others. Right. So you value a cat's life more than a pig's. You value a dog's life more than a cow's. And you value a lion's life more than a chicken's. I find it very fascinating.
I think because part of it is because maybe if you had like a pet pig, a lot, and this, that's how society is. I mean,
it's a member of the family.
Well, exactly. And people mourn, a loss of a cat or a dog,
like it's
some
a kid.
people just as much as a human being,
if more,
whether it's wrong or right, whatever. But like I know for me, when I lost my one dog, I was actually.
You were depressed.
No, he drowned. Like I couldn't find him, and he got away, and he drowned, and I had to bury him before my mother came back for vacation.
Oh wow!
And it like absolutely destroyed me. So I think that's where it falls in. It's not valuing it. You could say it's.
I think it's specific to your own pet. I don't think it's because you love all dogs. I think you just love your dog.
Right. It's different because I'm not saying a life of a cow is that more important of a dog or a cat, but that dog or a cat is my pet. It's my part of my family. So it's, you know what I mean? That's kind of how I see it.
I feel if it's your pet, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the guy that killed the lion. I mean, if you kill say you kill a deer and you eat it, you're not going to kill a lion and eat it. You're doing it for fun. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't support. I have been. I've been supporting killing of four species that I'm not proud of. But yeah, I usually don't support any killing. Yeah, I totally feel you. I think it's terrible.
Yeah. I took my wife to a vegan restaurant because she wanted to try it out, and I ordered vegan buffalo wings, and it came out, and it was like these triangle, like pyramid-shaped pieces of tofu with buffalo sauce on it, and it was horrendous. Do you like tofu, Bri?
No, I don't. I never, even when I was vegan, I liked tempeh, but no, I've never been a tofu fan.
Yeah, I'm not.
I had tofu chicken nuggets. They were pretty good.
It's not a chicken nugget, then, is it?
Well, whatever. You call tofu nuggets.
Doesn't it make you laugh that people that buy the vegan sausages and the vegan bacon and stuff? I mean, if you want bacon.
No, I do that. Because I love it. Because the taste of meat tastes very good. I'm not going to deny that at all. It tastes very good. And I think that it's amazing that these companies have scientifically created things that are so close in a version. Not exactly, of course, but, so close in texture, just the consistency, the taste and everything. And I feel so fortunate, and it makes me feel even worse that I'm not being vegan right now, because there are so many substitutes now. If you do miss the taste of meat or what have you, that you have all of these. Back in the 80s, you didn't have these options. If you were a vegan, you were stuck with, your carrots and spinach. Now you can basically have a version of whatever meat eaters eat, too. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I had the sausages from Morningstar, and they weren't actually that bad. Some of the chicken's not that bad. The texture's a little bit off, but, I mean, they're getting close. But the problem is that stuff's twice as expensive.
So is going out and getting a steak. I don't know.
No, I'm talking about like at home. If you buy some chicken breasts, you get like 10 for $12 or whatever. But Morningstar, you get 2 for $5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're vegan, if you start leading that life, then you start reading more and more about nutrition, dietitian, all of that, and you learn that you're not really supposed to be eating any of that stuff.
Right.
So you really start to sway away from that, and you stick to more of a plant-based diet, like a more raw plant-based diet, which is what I had done for several years. And I lost when I first became vegan. That was my main objective when I first stumbled upon it. I lost 40 pounds in a month and a half. No exercise, no nothing. It just fell right off of me from a raw vegan diet.
See, Paul, you could have did that without all the bullshit. That's all you had to do is go vegan, and you would have lost that.
I love meat though.
Yeah, I know you do.
I love meat.
That's pretty
hard,
amazing.
It's
though.
hard enough me not being able to eat fried chicken right now, and not being able to have blue cheese, which is my staple favorite thing in the whole world was chicken wings and blue cheese.
Yeah, but you don't have the want anymore.
No, well, I can eat grilled chicken with low-fat blue cheese on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bree, don't you think that, like, some people... there's all these different doctors telling you that this is bad for you, this is bad for you, this is bad for you. You don't think being a vegan is like a fad, like all those other things?
No, well, first of all, doctors only have, it's a really small percentage. I think 2% of the 12 years that they put in to school is on diet. Right. So they actually know very little when it comes to what to eat, what not to eat. I actually just went and saw my doctor, not today, but yesterday, and he admitted to me himself he had an ulcer, but he won't stop drinking coffee. And he's like, I'm going to continue drinking coffee, and I just take medication every day so that I can keep drinking coffee. It's not like doctors are like the gods of the world that, just because they say this or that is better, we should definitely still read up and do our research. And also doctors have opinions. They're people. They have their own opinions. Right. So it's very important that we look into things ourselves.
Yeah, I tell you right now, if Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil recommend anything, I automatically don't do it because those guys are just money-hungry assholes. They're like friggin', what's his name? Sharpton. He says he protects, people of African American descent, but then if you give him a couple of bucks, he changes his mind and only goes, only defends these people and all this other shit. So
I don't think Dr. Phil's a real doctor, is he?
I don't know.
I don't think he is. I mean, Dr. Oz is a doctor as far as I know, but I don't think Dr. Phil's even a real doctor that I know.
All right, well, let's get away from the diet stuff because I don't know if Bree wants to spend the next 45 minutes discussing who's going to have a chicken sandwich. So what do you have titles for your book yet, Bree?
What was that?
Do you have the titles for your trilogy of books?
Do I have what for my books?
The title.
Oh, the title is the least important part. It's what's on the inside that counts. No, but it really is though. Right. So yeah.
As long as it's got Bri Olson on there somewhere, it's going to sell it. You know what I mean? It's going to sell it.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. People are like, why don't you go by Rachel? I'm like, are you crazy? I'm like, I'm keeping this name forever. I didn't do all that for nothing. No way. What I still go through to this day, I'm holding on to Bri Olson forever.
Yeah, I mean, even Tracy Lords actually changed her name legally to Tracy Lords because more people knew that name, even though she didn't like to admit the porn stuff. But because of the name, would you ever consider changing your name to Bri Olson?
Oh, no. I mean, it's worked out fine for me so far. I don't care. Like Rachel Oberlin, Bri Olson, whatever. I mean, you call me either one. People always ask me, they're like, Rachel or Bri? I said, I turn my head just as fast in the grocery store to either name.
Well, at least if you hear Rachel, there's a good chance they don't know you're the girl from the porn.
No, usually those are the ones that know I'm in porn and then some.
All right. We're going to let you go in a sec, Bri. I just wondered if you could do us a little bumper for the show. If you could just say, this is Bri Olson, and you're listening to Dysfunctional Podcast. That'd be really great.
Sure. Ready?
Yep.
This is Bri Olson, and you're listening to Dysfunctional Podcast.
Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah. And Big A, you've been really quiet, and you're probably touching yourself for the last 45 minutes.
No.
Ask the lady a question. This is Bri Olson. You know who this is, Big A? This isn't you know, your cousin that works at the body shop.
Oh, what? What are you doing, Big A?
This is what we're up against, Bri.
Oh my.
Come on, Big A. This is your chance. Say something to Bri.
Forget it.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
He just put his camera on and gave me the finger.
He's very shy. He's very, very shy. I think he just hung up on us now.
But he had no trouble getting his cock out for a girl in New Zealand on webcam a few years ago.
Don't embarrass him.
I would too. I don't hold it against him. I'd get my cock out for any girl on webcam.
There's the soundbite we needed. Bri Olson's got a cock.
Yeah. Well, I just went and bought one. I bought 2 today.
I just thought it was a pretty large clip. You know? So, okay, Bri, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Bri. Appreciate it.
Sorry we derailed it with the vegetarian talk, but it was interesting to hear what we had to say.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I don't think if you asked anyone, they'd say, let's go talk to Bri Olson to find out what diet we should be on. You know?
Right. All right. Thanks, guys. You've been awesome.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bri.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.